This is the homework helper for Chapter 5, Section 5 in the 7th grade workbook, Graphing Linear Functions. Let's go and start and take a look here at question number 1. In question number 1, what they're asking me to do is graph the function with the input-output table that you see there. And the equation is y equals negative x minus 5. Now, again, as we talked about earlier, in the input-output table, you can pick your own x's. They happen to have picked in the book here negative 4, negative 2, and 0. So what that means is we're going to take each one of these x's, or take each one of these values and plug it in for x and solve what we have here, and the result will be y. So first time through, I'm going to change x into negative 4. So that's going to say y equals, now this is something that's different and makes this question more challenging than number 2. Here it says negative 4, but then here it says negative x. Well, negative x really means the opposite of x, or the opposite of whatever you plug in. So when I plug in negative 4 here and then I say the opposite, well, the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. So that's going to be y is the same as 4 minus 5, or negative 1. Negative 2, well, when I change x into negative 2, what I really mean is the opposite of negative 2, and the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. So this is really 2 minus 5 here, which is negative 3. And then at 0, so I'm going to change x into 0. Now, I would say opposite here, but of course there is no opposite of 0, so this one's really easy. Y equals 0 minus 5, or negative 5. Well, no surprise here. We have a pattern going on in the x row. The numbers are increasing by 2, and we also have a pattern here going on in the y row. As long as you have some type of pattern over here, you should have some type of pattern over here. No, they won't be the same pattern, but if you don't have a pattern over here, I can guarantee you won't see any type of pattern over here. So, if I said to you, okay, what's going to be x is 2 going to return as a result? Well, if x was 2, you should be able to guess that y is going to be negative 7, and indeed that is correct. All right, so the ordered pair column now, that just combines your x's and y's. So I put this together with this. So negative 4, negative 1, which is a point I'm going to graph, and negative 2, negative 3, which is a point I'm going to graph, and 0, negative 5, which is a point I'm going to graph. So negative 4, negative 1. On the coordinate grid here, graphing, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, we're graphing the linear function. I'm going to go negative 4 on the x-axis and negative 1 on the y-axis. Pull my fingers together to where they meet. It's right there. Negative 2, negative 3. To negative 2 on the x-axis, to negative 3 on the y-axis. Pull my fingers together to where they meet. 0, negative 5. Well, I don't have to go right or left. I just go down 5. And now I'm ready to graph by connecting my points. Now, here's a hint, which is the same hint you can use in 2. Everything here is a linear function. Remember, the word linear indicates that this is a line. Everything here has to be linear. So if you get a graph that's something that's not a line, chances are you did this incorrectly. Connect my points. Indeed, I have my line. There's the graph of the function y equals the opposite of x minus 5. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at number 3. The temperature of a swimming pool is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. When the pool heater is turned on, the temperature rises 2 degrees every hour. What will the temperature be after 3 hours? Make a function table to answer the question. So, the temperature starts at 75, so we're going to write a function that starts at 75. And then we're going to add to 75 2 degrees each hour, plus 2 times x. So at 1 hour, it would be 2 more degrees plus the 75, which would be 77. 2 hours would be 2 times 2, or 4 more degrees plus the 75, 79. That's what they're doing here. And that's going to always equal y, my final temperature. All right, so that's the equation. Let's set the equation up here. So we're going to pick some x's. We're going to do 0, 1, 2, and 3. Why did I pick that set? Well, the question here wants to know after 3 hours. So 3 hours is what I'm going to change x into. Well, as you can see, there's the perfect set of boxes there to get me right up to 3 by doing 0, 1, 2, and 3. Here's where I'm going to put my function, y equals 75 plus 2x. This last column is going to equal my y. All right, so first time through, I change x into 0. So I'm going to do 75 plus 2 times 0, which is just going to give me 75. Makes sense. When I start, the temperature is 75 degrees. Question says when I start, temperature of the pool is 75 degrees. All right, 1 hour in. So now it's going to be 75 plus 2 times 1. All right, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 75 is 77. Well, again, that makes sense. We said the temperature is rising 2 degrees every hour. So an hour in, it's gone up 2 degrees. It was 75. Now it's 77. 2 hours in. 75 plus 2 times 2. Or 2 times 2 is 4 plus 75 is 79. Notice every time here I'm using order of operations. You can't escape that just because it's a different type of question. 2 hours in, 2 degrees an hour. That's 4 more degrees. Plus the 75 we started with is 79. Look over here. You should see a pattern, just like we talked about in the first question I did with you. The next one you should already be able to tell me is going to be 81. Let's vet it out. 75 plus 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 75 is 81. Answers the question because they want to know what the temperature is after 3 hours. Well, as we can see from our y column, when x is 3, y is 81. So 3 hours is going to be 81 degrees. Now, I'm not going to do number 4 with you, but I will help you set up the equation. It says Mel's Pizza Place charges $15 for a large cheese pizza plus $1.25 for each additional topping. What will be the cost of a large pizza with 3 additional toppings? Make a function table to answer the question. So, how am I going to figure out the cost of my pizza? Well, even if I get nothing but just a plain cheese pizza, I'm going to have to spend $15. What am I going to add to that $15? I'm going to add to that $1.25 for every topping. So if I order 7 extra toppings, $1.25 times 7. If I order 10 toppings, $1.25 times 10. If I order 208 toppings, that's going to be a heavy pizza, but in this case, $1.25 times 208. So I'm always going to add to this $1.25 times the number of toppings. So in this case, plus 1.25x. You're going to use the same x's that you used in the last question because they want to know about 3 toppings. Plug in the function and solve it out in the middle column. Find the y's. The bottom y box will be the actual solution to the question.